Welcome.
What? What, Mr.
Another
Khan?
riveting episode of Ali and Ramble talk meaninglessly. Yeah, so we just came back from spring break. We didn't get home. We probably didn't go to bed till like 1:30 in the morning. We had like a kind of a late flight, and then with the time change, we were sitting at the tarmac like I don't know, it was like close to midnight. You know what I mean? Just waiting to actually get in the old thinger McDingle. And so, yeah, it's like slow going morning.
And
Yeah.
this was for volleyball? You went to Arizona?
This was just a pure family thing. Brearley's, we have his cousin and his uncle live in Arizona, and the last couple years, like his grandparents. So obviously, my dad's gone. My mom's not well, so she's just, not
I thought
really
you were going
being.
to say, like, my dad's gone and my mom's gone.
Yeah, that's completely true. Neil's so dead on. But like we've been fortunate that we've been able to that Heath has a relationship with his grandparents. And so, we've been for a few years we would go to the beach to the Jersey Shore at the summer. And what's kind of crazy, Neil, is the time kind of ended. Like when he was 5, the beach is magical, right? But by the time he's like 10 and everyone's way older, like I'm the youngest person and I'm like in my 40s at the time. And we aged out of him being the only kid on a beach vacation. So we stopped doing that and then we switched it to going to Scottsdale, Arizona in springtime, which is a lovely time to go. The weather's fantastic. It has Palm Springs vibes, which might allude to some of your travels lately. And also it's spring training baseball. My father-in-law is a huge baseball fan. So we just did that. And I'm just going to wrap it up with my, in-laws are well into their mid 80s. And so it's very remarkable. They're in great health for their age. They're practically alone. A lot of their friends are just not able to live alone. And this may have been the last trip, too. So, I mean, it's just, you're starting to, quote, read the writing on the wall. So it's kind of crazy, like I feel like we've had this very full life of family vacations that will continue, but we're moving into Heath approaching young adulthood. That's kind of crazy. You know what I mean? So just kind of coming off the heels of that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
What is a
You're
young
still in the
adult?
thick of it, though.
A young
What's that?
adult, a young adult by definition is not a legal adult, right?
Oh, I don't know about the definition. I just know,
But
like,
you
this
said it. You
dude.
just said he's becoming a young adult. I mean, he's,
Yeah.
4 years off from 18. That is adult. I
Yeah.
think you could make the argument that 18-year-olds are young adults because they are technically adults and they're young.
You know what's crazy? Do this math 3.5 years. He'll turn 15 at the end of November. It just really trips me out, man. You
Okay,
know
a
what I
young
mean?
adult, by definition, is a person in their late teens or early 20s. So
Okay. So he's not quite. I mean, we're getting there in terms of
he's a
his.
kid. He's a kid, Ollie. He's a kid.
He's a
He's a
kid.
kid. Stop being so hard on him. He's a kid.
You want to know something crazy?
Yes.
Literally from my mother-in-law's mouth, she's literally like, "Oh my gosh, you're almost as big as your father." Like that's crazy. I mean, not big in every way. I probably have 100 pounds on him, but like he's getting near my height.
Didn't
It's
know where
crazy.
you were going with it. Thanks for keeping it PG. All right. Well, this is this
Riveting.
is what they call in the biz a filler episode.
Mm.
You gotta hit the quota. We've got a time slot, and so we figured let's just talk about our travels, and then maybe if we have time, we'll go back to the old mailbag, answer some questions. Remember the mailbag?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've heard of it.
Yeah,
Obviously, big deal.
people
This is
loved
kind
it.
of like our post-mortem spring break episode,
Sure.
right?
Yes, that's great for SEO. Love it. Love the angle.
Post-mortem spring break. Nothing like Googling death and spring break. But hey, it
Rigor
happens.
mortis spring break.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. We haven't had our spring break is coming up.
Didn't you just do? I feel like you literally did one.
No, that was late winter break, okay? This past weekend we were away for a wedding, and then yeah, spring break we're just we're around and having to figure it out, make it work. We'll figure something out, but we're not going away because we
Vacation.
sure, yes, correct. The Mario movie's coming out over spring break, so perhaps we will enjoy a nice trip to the Mario movie. I saw Hoppers. We saw Hoppers. I think I wrote about it in our stack.
Yeah. You know
Yeah.
what I just watched? Man, this is where we turn this into the other podcast we could do someday. I watched Iron Claw last night. Tore through the whole thing on the
Yeah, yeah.
plane.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Watched Iron Claw.
Emotional, huh? Huh?
Yeah, I mean, like, what's weird is I'm old enough to
Hmm.
remember vaguely the names of the Von Erichs. And also, like, that was, like, I guess I think it was technically NWA, but basically, growing up in the 80s, there was either WWF wrestling, like Hulk Hogan, Vince McMahon, and then there was, like, the cheaper one. But the funny thing is, the cheaper one is actually true to the history of wrestling, and you can actually that. I think they still make it on Vice, Dark Side of the Ring, but it's very interesting if you watch certainly the McMahon documentary, but you actually look at the actual the story behind the wrestling business, and when it just looks so grim and choppy and cheap and low end, that's actually the heart and truth of it. Like the glitz and glamour of these WWF was not really what was happening there. But obviously great movie, great performances, a lot of dudes in tidy whities. It's like when you watch a movie on a plane and you gotta wonder what other people may be like, oh, what's this guy into? You know what I mean?
It's funny you say that because the last few flights I've taken, I go to queue up a movie and there's that warning that says, hey, there may be some adult images, coming on the screen.
Yeah.
Be careful about the people who are around you. Is it all clear? And I'm just like, I have to now because there might be, other kids around on this plane. Now I can't watch an R-rated film. This is
Yeah.
my time to watch movies. I watched Begonia and Weapons on these flights
Yeah.
and quite enjoyed them. Good
Yeah.
films.
Yeah. Yeah. Tore through it. It's been a long, well, no, I've really discovered the only way for me, I think we both are discovering the same thing. It's like, how can I watch the movies I used to like make plans to go see?
Yeah,
It's on the phone.
got
It's
to take
on
a
the
plane.
phone, like plane, phone. That's how I watched Boyhood. This was a good length, 2 hours, just tore through
Yeah,
the whole thing.
you know,
Started watching.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No, I mean they said like back in the day. So who was that director? Who was like the Orson Welles, right? Wasn't he a famous director?
heard of
I
him.
think he
Heard
said
of him.
like one day I dream, because he always had these like expansive worlds and sets. He said, I dream that people will be able to view this large thing just on a small screen in the palm of their hand while playing Candy Crush. You never heard this quote? It's like so famous.
Shut up! Oh, you got me for a second. You got me for a second, and then you cheapened it with your own humor. You could
I
have
know.
just legitimately like tricked me, which
I
isn't
always
hard.
do. I always do. Well, okay, so Zona was good. Dude, can we call it Zona? Is Arizona? Anybody call it Zona?
Yeah, I think they do. I knew a guy in the '90s who
Heading
called
to
it that.
Zona. We're going to Zona.
Look, it's Scottsdale is, it's not like the Neil, like I live in the center of culture and art, like it's like there's wealthy homes, golf. Usually when you go to Scottsdale and you rent a house, it's very similar to if you were in LA and you go rent in Palm Springs. Like you
Okay,
just
right.
rent like a fun backyard, a house that maybe looks like it kind of could have been on a Miami Vice episode. It's to me, it's similar to like in New York when you get out of the city, and chances are, at least when I lived in LA, I always lived in apartments, then a loft, but I never really had my own backyard. So it really has an appeal, and the design of it and the weather, dry, arid, and it's just getting. It's like when I was there, it was perfect to go. Hey, let's go swimming. It's 100 degrees outside, but it's dry. So it's not like it ain't New York City 100 degrees waiting for the subway. That's like,
Okay. Yeah,
you know,
yeah. I
yeah.
never understood that. People say it's a humid heat or it's a dry heat. Like I don't no no, no. Heat's heat to me. I don't get
That's
it.
because you're in, I mean, unless you're just staying in Jersey and Florida, like it's crazy. Yeah, no, it's Austin's generally hot all around, but yeah, no, Midwest, humid, LA dry. I mean, here's the thing. Does the temperature drop 20, 30 degrees at night? That's the difference, as hot as it is during the day. Yeah. Great weather talk. Great weather talk. But
Yeah.
that's also
Let's
the
bring on Al Roker to talk
yeah,
about. Yeah,
yeah.
he'd be a good one. He'd be a good one. He's a
Yeah.
good. He's got kids.
Yeah, I imagine his kids are quite grown. All
What
right,
do
so
you
that was
think?
Scottsdale.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
did, pool stuff.
Yeah.
I
So you
grilled
saw
by
the
a pool.
Diamondbacks? Is that it, right? Am I right? The Diamondbacks?
Yeah, they're there. I actually ended up seeing San Francisco play Milwaukee. So it's like half of baseball either goes to Arizona or Florida for spring
Got it.
training
Got it.
because the weather's good. I caught
Cool.
a Brewers Giants game. That's what I saw. That's what I saw. It was good.
Cool.
Yeah.
And the Giants.
But you were in LA, City of
It was in LA.
Dreams.
City of Angels. City of
Schmoozing.
Dreams. Los Angeles. Are there other nicknames for LA? There must be.
LA, Los Angeles, Hollywood.
Yeah,
Uh,
we had a wedding to go to, Shira's best friend, and the wedding was not last minute, but planned a little, it wasn't like we had a year and a half in advance. And so we were undecided of if the whole family was going to go. And
hmm
ultimately, we decided that the whole family would go, but this was after Shira had already gotten her flight because she was definitely going because this
mm,
was her best friend. She was a maid of honor at our wedding, and she was going to be there no matter what.
mm.
And as we talked about it and figured it out and logistically how it would work, we said, all right, well we're going, we're all going, and as a result, I took my 8 and 5-year-old on a plane by myself to Los Angeles, which sounds like a really big deal. I understand people do this all the time. I felt like, well, they're an age. It's just like they're chill, like it'll be fine. I go to school, pick them up early, and Cece's like running down the hall, so excited, and Zeke's
Mm.
just like, yeah, yeah, I'm ready. Let's go. Where are we on? Yeah, come on. Like he just like already down for whatever.
Yeah.
His levels are just in the middle. And Cece did a really funny thing. She goes, because we had to walk past it was during recess when I picked her up, and she goes, Daddy, watch this. And she calls her friend's name, and she calls her over, and then all the girls come to the fence. They're like, where are you going? Where are you going? She's like, I'm going to California. And then we like walked off. And I was like, it felt like they were all gonna like break out into a musical number, like Cece's going to California, going to a wedding today. She's leaving school early.
Yeah.
Cece's going to,
Yeah.
um, yeah. It had that like that, because they were all like running to the fence, the chain link fence. It was funny.
They were excited.
Yeah, Daddy, watch this.
So, have you ever flown solo? This is the first time?
I've been on planes by myself before. No, with the kids, no. This was the first time, which yeah, I think at this age, here's okay. So cut to, I thought this is going to be a cinch. We get an Uber. We're on our way to JFK. Is a good amount of bags. Zeke's not really doing much. Can't really rely on the 5-year-old to carry
Right.
anything.
Yeah, you do have you've got bags. Now, granted, it was just a weekend, but still, that's a
Yeah,
couple
yeah, but
rollers.
so we had, and I this was the math I kept doing. I said 3 backpacks, 2 suitcases, 1 booster, 2 kids in that order. Make sure we had
Not
everything.
about
There were
that.
times in the security line, or like where someone was like, "Is this your booster?" Yes, thank you. That's my booster.
Dude, yeah, no, I mean, okay. Yeah.
But so
Yeah.
we're about to, like when you're getting everything ready for the security belt. I hate this feeling, by the way, and I don't know if it's a New York thing or, like when you're crossing the street and you have the right of way, but you feel like you have to kind of like run to signal to the car, like I'm hurrying, so that you can be on your way, car. I'm sorry. You do like a little jog. I feel that same way when you're trying to get everything onto the conveyor belt going through security because there's
Yeah.
all
Oh yeah,
bins. And
totally.
luckily, I don't have to even, my the thing I dreaded, my nightmare going through TSA always was the shoes. We have pre-check now, so I don't have to take off the shoes, which is like a game changer. I hate taking off my shoes. And you also just feel like so like defenseless and infantilized. It's like I am a a man of 40 years. I have to be in socks in this public place, like this
Yeah.
cold floor. No, so I keep my shoes on. But
Yeah.
then I've got, as we've established, two suitcases, three backpacks. Got to take out the laptop. Got to take out the two iPads. Got a booster seat. Got, like whatever little tchotchkes and water bottles I have to spill out and, all this stuff. So I'm like, kind of crazed and thinking I'm holding up the entire line. Meanwhile, my kids are like literally punching each other over, I
Really?
can't remember
So
what.
yeah, we didn't even get into the behavior elements
Uh-huh.
here.
So they were in some sort of argument, which I cannot remember what it was about. I cannot remember who started it. I do not care who started it, and I told them as much. And I'm watching it again. Felt like I was in some sort of just bad Mr. Mom movie, to date myself, where they're just like punching each other and yelling at each other, and this
Yeah.
woman's just like behind us, like kind of staring at the whole thing. I'm like, guys, we need to get on this plane and get through security. Come on. And then as this is happening and I'm getting all this stuff up, now I see another family approaching, and it's like a family had two parents and a couple of kids older than ours. And his dad looks at me, and he's like, seems a little bit older than me. And he looks at me and he's like, take your time. You got this. And I was like,
Yeah. Well, hey,
and I,
yeah, that's good.
hey, like he knew like I appeared quite stressed. And I
Yeah.
thought, like, what a mensch, I guess he wasn't in a rush. And nor
Okay.
were we, by the way. Like, I like to get places early. Like, we had 2 hours or hour and a half. Like, we were in no danger of anything. Like, we were going to have time to, like, get our food, go to the bathroom, get to the gate, all the things. But you're stressed out because that conveyor belt, they put you in a position to just make you feel like you're effing it all up for everybody. You're not getting your stuff on the belt fast enough. So then finally we get through. And now it's another whole thing. You got to collect all your bags, make sure you have everything, right? Now,
Hmm.
the thing that I figured was going to be tough, but there's really no way to prepare for it, is, yes, they're at an age where they can wear seatbelts, they can watch movies, they're not on
Yeah.
formula, they're not crying, they're not crawling around, which, by the way, there was a baby on the plane on the way home who was crawling up and down the aisles, and
Whoa.
uh, his mom thought it was so adorable and
Yeah,
sure with
that's not
her.
okay.
And I was just like, you suck. Like you're an asshole. Like letting your kid like get their wiggles out on, by the way, this isn't an 18-hour flight. It's like a 5-hour flight back from LA on the way home. And she was just letting this baby just crawl up and down the aisles. It was so annoying. But
Was
so
there any did the flight attendants have anything to say here? I assume the seatbelt sign was off, at least.
I guess, I mean, yeah. Yeah, it would have been nice if that baby got a little turbulence. But
Well, that's definitely. I mean, this would have been all prime fodder for passenger shaming. It's a shame you weren't out there getting. You
I,
could have had Zeke do the
yeah.
dirty work. That would have been nice. He could be our first intern.
So okay, so we get through security, and then oh yeah, so the thing that I didn't know would be this hard is going to the bathroom solo with two kids. Now,
Mm,
luckily, I did not need to use the bathroom in that way, but one of my kids did.
okay.
And I will say we are in an era of the family bathroom, which I appreciate. It is large, expansive, it's not like super tight, it's not public. You gotta get like your own little apartment in the airport, the family
Yeah.
bathroom.
Yeah.
Sure. So we go in there, and of course, Cece is just so angry that I'm making her come in with us because she's old enough to wait by the gate by herself, she says, or
Right.
outside. And I'm like, we are at JFK International Airport. I am alone. You have to stay in this bathroom while your brother poops. And I'm sorry. And
Yeah.
you can stay on the other side, and I will give you my phone so you can play Duolingo while your brother poops. All right? It is what it is. Like, yeah, so what happened, officer? Well, my daughter was abducted because she didn't want to come into the bathroom with us, while our
Right.
brother. So,
Right.
I like, sorry,
Right.
it is what it is. It
Yeah.
sucks. It sucks. But, so we did that. We made it through. And now let me tell you the other thing that stresses me out is the getting on the plane. You know what I don't understand about this, Ollie, is we all have tickets. We're all getting on. No one's not getting on. But there is this palpable stress when they start to say, we're going to start to board now. If you're in
Yeah.
zones 1 to 3, and you start looking at your zone and you're like, we're zone 58. Great. Right? So then you're like, mother, and
Yeah.
then what zone are we, Dad? What zone? And I'm like, not high enough. By the way, Cece, this trip started asking like, why don't we ever fly first class? Will we ever fly first class? I'm like, get out of here. Did you know that like
Yeah.
95% of this country never has flied anywhere or like international? Like, get out of here, kid. Because I didn't work hard enough. I'm sorry. Or yeah.
You're in rare form here. It's amazing. Keep going.
So we get into that, and then I hear this, and I hear if anybody needs extra time, has a young children or a stroller or a car seat, and I'm going,
Yeah, you're pre-board. You're
I go,
pre-board, right?
we have a car seat now. It's the booster without a back, but it's technically a car seat. And what's so amazing about my kids, we get up to the lady and she goes, "This is our car seat." Like she's like vouching for me, and they let us through. And so like we were able to, because part of it is like when you're getting your seat, but is there any room up top? Did anyone already take all the spots?
Yeah.
Shove it in there. So we had ample room for all our bags. And then B, the hold up of just like the line of people that you have to wade through. We were able to just, go right back to row 45, which was nice. And then we sat, and then here's the payback. Cece had to poop on the plane, okay? Guess who had to come into that bathroom? The three of us. So her little brother had to be in the tiny bathroom while she pooped.
Wait.
Yeah.
On the plane, you guys all piled in
He
there? That's
had to,
impossible.
yeah. He's 5. I couldn't leave him in his seat alone.
On the plane, you could have done. I mean,
Anyway, well, I didn't. And then I was like, oh, hey, guess what? This is a lot worse for him than it was for you. Like he's in no
yeah.
like. So
Whew, that's it. Yeah, it's funny. I don't know. It's rarely have we flown without all of. Well, that's not true. That's not true. Really flown with Heath a lot.
see what I'm saying?
Very
See what I'm saying?
specifically flying just with Heath, and the looks I got because he was like maybe one, and I
Okay.
was a mess. Like
Okay.
there were dudes looking at me, and it wasn't the "you got this." They were like, "This guy is screwed." Like he was before it was before he was two. He was like lap kid. Remember that era? Yeah, yeah. That's a lot. That's a lot. You're going through it. You're
So
going through it.
we land. I text Shira, hey, we've landed at LAX. She's already there. She's already at like the welcome dinner. She's, been in LA for hours.
Yeah.
Now we have to get a cab. And I don't know if you've been to LAX recently, but it's not like in New York, you kind of, at least domestically, you go through, you get off the plane, you walk to the cab stand and you get a cab or a lift. And it's like, they're right there. LA, we had to find the green pillar. And when you find the green pillar, you have to wait for the shuttle. And then finally a shuttle comes. And by the way, now it's like 7 or 8 o'clock LA, but it's like 10 o'clock for them. And they flew all day and they were in school. And so we're on this shuttle with all our stuff, just kind of like packed in like sardines. And then we get
Yeah.
to that. And then they finally take you to that area. And it's like A1, A2, B1, B2, and you call your car. And then our car comes, and then, I don't know, it was like 40, 45 minutes to get to the hotel. And then I believe it was like 8:30 Pacific. I texted Shira in room, and the kids were like in bed, like kind of starting to fade. But that's 11:30 for us on our bodies.
Yeah.
Not a big deal for me, a long day, but like it was a long day of travel. And then we woke up and kind of like chilled the next day because the next day was the wedding day. There was a pool at the hotel. There was a nice, like kind of a local shop. It was called Target. So we did that. We went there for a little bit.
Where in LA did you stay?
We stayed at the Residence Inn on West Olympic Boulevard, right near the Crypto.com Center, which I think used to be the Staples Center.
You were in downtown LA.
That's right.
Baby, my old stomping grounds. I used
Yeah,
to
yeah,
live
yeah.
there. Man.
We didn't really, do any activities because it was such a quick turn, and it didn't, part of me, because I'm always like, oh, should we go to a museum? Should we go to like do something? We're in LA. And Shira was like, just hang out at the hotel. Like, this is crazy. Like, so we did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Swam a little, got ready for the wedding, and then we weddinged, and it was quite lovely. The kids were adorable.
And they were okay at the wedding. They weren't bored out of their skull.
Yeah, no, it was like they had enough to do. There were other like little kids. You know what was cool? It was oh shit, I'm gonna go get this. Hang tight. I'll edit this part out if you have to wait a long time.
I'm
Hold on.
hanging tight, hanging tight, looking at my phone. New world of podcasting. Just like
Thanks for your patience. I'll put in like a please stand by or something.
I was literally looking at my phone. What this is almost embarrassing. This is the lowest lit podcast. We've like done this where it's like this makes our other stuff feel like a proper produced show. This is
What's our
almost
other stuff? No, this is what people come for. They want to know about our lives. We keep it under such lock and key.
it's so weird. I'm like, do they? They just want to know about Mabowski, about Mabolski, Mabal. I can't say
Dr.
it.
Mike? I think we can call
Yeah,
him Dr. Mike, right?
that's a lot easier. Yeah,
Anyways, okay, so you know how like sometimes they have like a photo booth or a tarot reader or like fun little activity?
yeah,
So they had an aura reading, which I'm usually not into. Like that's not my thing. I don't like tarot. People are like, "What's your sign?" I'm like, I don't believe in that. I'm a Taurus, May 9th, and but I think that I outgrew being a Taurus because I actually can't be stubborn and be married to my wife, and so I had to kind of like let it go. Or it just isn't real because it's not like there's only 12 types of people in the world, you know?
yeah.
But this is a little more interesting. I like when it's a little more nuanced. I don't like when it's so fixed. Like you were born on this date, so this is your personality trait. But this is
Mm,
an aura reading, and an aura reading, they bring you into this little booth, and they put your hands on these
mhm.
like electrode thingies, and they cover them. And then I don't know, they're like they take a picture of you, and then there's a color behind you, and this is my aura. You can see it. You see it?
Yeah,
So what I was told is this
it's like a
green
high
right
school
here.
yearbook photo.
This green right here is he said because so they give this to you, they let it develop, and then they give it to you, and then they do a reading, and he said, so that's your feminine energy. And then I was like, oh, okay. He goes, don't worry, everyone has it. And I'm like, yeah, it's all good. I'm not upset about it. The kids love that. Cece literally is still like, everyone has it. I'm like, all right, relax. This is apparently like my goals or something's up here. And then, but then he said, and by the way, he was giving me this reading like while I'm in front of my kids. He's like, oh, he's like, you're very loyal. The colors of reading, very loyal.
Yeah.
And you have like a real Papa Bear energy, and you're very calm. And I'm like, am I? And then I was like, am I projecting calm? And then I start to get in my head about like, is this just like those, was there someone in your life with a D? Well, my dad. Oh, yes. Well, he's in the room with us. Like, are they just kind of like playing to, what they think you want to hear? Or is this legit? Like, is this really my aura? You know?
Did they tell you to like pose a certain way or like, smile, not smile, kind of like,
No, they
when
just
they,
said put your hands on here and stay still, and you do, and then they take the
yeah,
thing. I'll tell you, Shira's reading because she wasn't even there. They just because she was like busy, she had to give a speech, so they handed me her photo, and he was like, "Oh, I'll do her reading really quick." And he looks at it and he goes, "She's fierce and big personality, can talk her way out of anything." And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of dead on, You get that just from
yeah.
colors. So I'm like, I'm starting to buy into this stuff. Zeke got that he's very courageous.
Mm.
What was Cece's? I can't remember hers. But anyway, yeah. So the aura reading. I think I'm an aura guy now.
What I find most fascinating, honestly, is the overall picture that you got from this aura reading. Your expression, honestly, also the wardrobe.
Uh
It
huh.
has this feel of like, and a little bit of, I think with the color contrast, it reminds me of like some sort of like to a degree, not the myriad of colors, but maybe the more of the hues of blues and the how I don't know, it has like kind of a yearbook vibe. And then yeah, you kind of like have this like position where it's like you're not smiling, you're not frowning. You know what I mean? It's just you're just kind of like you're there and you're presenting something, and that expression is just fascinating because it's just not one normally would see in a picture. Then let's be
Why?
honest.
Why? I feel like I do it all the time. It's just
Yeah, You know? Yeah, it's a look. It's a whole other look. It's like I feel like you're masking something, and that's what the colors are detecting. You know, you're not like, oh, this guy's not. It's a very untourist like expression.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about
Yeah.
that?
What's your sign, Ollie? Not that I care.
Taurus.
What?
Yeah, May 4th.
Do
Yeah,
Tauruses get along well with each other?
I don't know. I don't believe in that shit either. I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, I remember when people go, "Oh yeah, well that makes sense because you're like this," and it's like, sure, you're coming up with personality traits, and you're going, yeah, yeah, you're like one of those type of people. Like, yeah, it makes sense because I assume I'm going to be some type of person. You know what I mean? Like,
The internet says Taurus and Taurus get along exceptionally well.
there you go.
Okay, so then we finished. Oh, so you asked how the kids did. They did well. They made it through. They were starting to get a little tired, and then I had the good fortune of bringing them back to the hotel. It's like 10-minute ride away. So I did that, and then Shira stayed out, and then came home later. And then the next day, you know this already, but we went to the happiest place on earth.
So that's a schlep, my friend. Like,
Yeah,
it's yeah.
yeah.
You just rented a car? Did you rent a car? How'd you do that?
Well, because we took separate flights, Shira picked up the car when she
Cool.
arrived, drove it to the hotel, which is why we just Ubered there. So then, yeah, we had the car for a few days.
Yeah.
So yeah, we drove. I think, listen, we woke up at like 6:30 and we waited for the free breakfast at 7 because come on.
Wow.
Gotta
So
get
what a
up.
turnaround. So you woke up early after being how late were you at the wedding? I guess with kids you can only be there so long.
39. Yeah.
Oh, that's not
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. You weren't there. It
So
was like you were there at midnight or whatever. Got it.
no,
Okay.
I was not. I was not sure it was. And then we went to California Adventure, which I went to when I was like a kid. I know I went to
Mm,
Disney kid. That was the park we went to, and I wrote down the rides we did. You want to hear? Here's the breakdown
yeah.
for anyone who's curious. Tell me if you've heard of any of these. We did Web Slingers, which is a Spider-Man ride.
Yeah. No. I mean, I haven't never I went to Disney World when I was a kid. We never made it to Disneyland. That might get corrected. Well, we might take Heath to Disney World at some point before it's too late. But I never made it to Disneyland. Yeah.
It's never too late. There's a lot of adults that go to Disney. I will tell you.
Yeah, I know. There are those. There are those. I mean, look, it ain't cheap. It ain't free. You know, I just could think of other ways I want to spend my money. But whatever. Anyways, so Disneyland, got
We
it.
did
All
Web
right, web
Slingers. So here's
slingers,
the interesting thing. So now everything's on an app, and so you can see like what the
wait
wait is.
times. Okay.
Yeah, and
Yeah, yeah.
so Web Sling, like we kind of went in without a plan for maybe the whole weekend, but we eked it out. We had a good time. But so we're like, oh, this looks cool. There's a Spider-Man one, like right when you get into the park, because when you first get there, everyone's still kind of piling in. You have a little time. I think it was like a 15-minute wait. And I
Hmm.
will tell you, this ride is very cool. It's kind of like I don't know if you've ever done the Buzz Lightyear ride, where you're like, like kind of get
Mm,
some like robot zombies. There are these I don't know, like these little things that like Tony Stark made or something that little like lobster guys that you have to like like go like that, get a web, and then you watch them get destroyed. So it's kind of fun, and you get little points. Anyway, we would look throughout the day. The wait ended up being like 90 minutes for that same ride, so we just like timed it really well.
mm.
After that, we did a Cars ride, Pixar's Cars. Mater, who I don't know Cars, I guess he's just kind of like the down home pickup
Yeah,
truck.
I know.
Yeah,
I remember it, that we were. Heath was young enough where, and there was few enough. I don't know. He knew about cars, so I knew
yeah.
about cars. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we did
Mater.
the Mater ride. Then we did the Little Mermaid ride, which is more of like almost like what's it called? It's a small world almost. Like it's like tells kind of the story of the movie,
Hmm.
and you're kind of going through, and that was fun. It was cute. The kids really liked it. They actually did it twice
Hmm.
because they did it with our friends. After that, we did the Jessie from Toy Story carousel. Okay. After that, we did this thing called the jellyfish, which is
Hmm.
basically like they look like jellyfishes and you go up and down really fast. It's pretty quick, but it's like, you get like a real jolt. Like, do you remember the
Yeah,
Tower of
yeah.
Terror? Or just kind of like that, I guess. You're like
Didn't do
doing like a
anything.
little free fall.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we did the Monsters Inc. ride, which similarly just kind of like tells the story of the movie, but like you're in it like 3D, as you're like driving around.
Okay.
And the takeaway from that was just like, you should watch Monsters Inc. again. It's a really good movie.
In terms of these rides versus, say, a Six Flags, like
Mm.
how extreme do they start to dip into? I imagine there's still like a bit of distance between, how
These
crazy it can get.
are
Yeah.
not intense, but they have roller coasters. My kids are not yet, and maybe never will be, if I'm lucky, roller coaster kids. I am
Yeah.
not a roller coaster person. I hate it,
Me
always
too.
have, never liked it, like
Yeah.
since I was, you know,
Yeah.
Cece's age, like
Same.
and even in high school.
I'm
No,
afraid.
yeah, I don't want to. And then we have Coney Island here, and it's
Oh,
like, ooh,
yeah.
the roller coaster's 100 years old. It's like, yeah, no thanks.
That's
A, it's
almost worse.
rickety.
Yeah,
B,
yeah, 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 yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I don't want to go flying. Although I guess my family would get a decent settlement from the borough. Yeah, so there were like real deal roller coasters, but it's not like a Six Flags where that is the main event and it's like high octane. It's a lot more storytelling and character and like vibes driven. I will also say Disney has gotten really good at like the merch, like the merch is like so cool.
More so? Because, my God, they've been masters of that.
Oh, I got one for you. So, obviously Disney owns Star Wars now. And so they have Star Wars rides. They have like a whole like cantina and they have a Star Wars like store. And we go in there and you can like make your own lightsaber for like $100 or something. And it's like, all right, we have lightsabers from Amazon that are $20. All right, that's fine.
Well, yeah, I know. I mean, look, man, it was 2023. So we did this little tradition where, tradition, we did it twice. The first time was magical. He took Heath for his birthday because he's an only child, but also we could never be the ones to be like, oh yeah, we'll have a party and invite your entire class. Like, we can't swing that. So one time we took him for his birthday, we surprised him, we threw him on a plane, and we took him to Legoland. And he had no idea. And we literally pull up to the thing, and he's like, we're in Legoland. It was amazing. Cut to 2023. That was 2019. Cut to 2023. We did the same thing, but Universal Studios Florida. And the surprise did not go so well. Like, he kind of resented it. Briley was very upset because, well, she wasn't very upset, but she was disappointed because she thought, oh, I thought this would be like a replay of 4 years ago. I'm like, you can't relive 4 years ago. But we were at Universal Studios. I too share your same desires to not go on something that brings me fear. I like joy, I don't want to, put myself through a ringer, and I don't like it. I don't like it. They had some crazy rides here. We didn't do it, but there was one ride we did, and it was a lot of Harry Potter stuff was going on at Universal Studios. We did this, yeah, it was, I guess, the Harry Potter ride. And it was just enough, Neil. Like, it was like, because sometimes you do the things and you're like, okay, this is not a big deal. I'm moving, but like, there's no kind of thrill whatsoever. This was just tweaked just right. I wish there were more roller coasters for people like us that weren't like, hey, this is insane, and I'm preparing myself to be in Top Gun 3. I don't need that. I'm not trying to do that. But the I highly recommend the Harry Potter ride at Universal was pretty good. And we also got duped into buying the freaking cape and the wand. A lot of money. And guess what? It just sits just like a $20 lightsaber does. It's just all future junk. You know what I mean? Like, whatever.
Yeah. Well, go see Begonia, you know what I'm saying?
Guess I
That's the
gotta go
message
see
there.
Begonia. I don't know. I just saw Iron Claw. That was like kind of a big deal for me. Thank you, Netflix, for having good downloads.
Thanks, Netflix.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, and then this is another thing from the Star Wars store was Zeke saw a shirt he really liked, and it was a cool Star Wars T-shirt.
Mm.
The writing kind of like protruded, it wasn't flat, and it was like $35, and I was like, he really wants it, and Shira's like, no, I'm not getting a $35 Star Wars T-shirt that he's gonna outgrow in like 6 months. And
Tough.
she's like, get it at Old Navy, so that's what we did instead.
That's true. I mean, it is tricky. It is tricky. I think when Heath was Zeke's age, I had bought him like a nice, cool T-shirt at a cool store. Oddly enough, in Des Moines, Iowa, that actually had like cool clothes. It's one of the few things like in Iowa. Like I remember asking someone who was from Iowa, "Oh, have you ever been to such and such store?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's like the coolest store. Like the one. Imagine if there was only one Urban Outfitters before it became everywhere, like ubiquitous." And I did buy him that one shirt, and I think I got it a little big, so I could stretch it out, like really just keep going, keep going, keep going. $35. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, Ollie, we have a few minutes left before you have to go be a dad
I
and take
know.
your son to
You hear
volleyball
them?
practice.
Bonkers over there. It's
Yeah.
freaking spring break. Nothing. They do nothing. Okay.
Yeah. What's he
All
what's he
right.
watching? Sounds like he's watching something.
He is literally online with his ding dong friends playing games. Oh my god, you know what this guy does? Like when so he has a gaming laptop. He has a laptop that's more powerful than the one I'm using that I use to edit videos with, right? He brings that and the freaking headset with him on vacation. So he's like he can be a portable ding dong wherever he is, but that's what he's doing right now. Like talking to
What
like four
what game? What
people.
game?
I don't know. I could probably look it up on Microsoft.
Okay. Well,
You
it's
know,
you know what? It's good that you're so involved and you kind of monitoring what he's doing and making
you
sure
know
that
what? All through this trip, he was like, "Can I have more time? Can I have more time? Can I have more time? More app time?" Like, so there is some monitoring happening. I don't know. It's probably some game, you know.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Some game. Who knows who he's talking to? It's fine. Let's go to the mailbag.
All
Ready?
right, we're going to the mailbag, and I have some hot hitting questions for you, but let's go to the mailbag
Ooh.
first.
Okay. Phil from you were just here. Phil from Arizona. Ready for this? Hey,
Oh,
dads.
sure.
Hey, dads. I need some advice. I recently did something I really regret. I went through my wife's text messages to her girlfriends. I don't know why, but I was getting a weird feeling from her as she has been distant lately, and I felt like I needed to get to the bottom of it. I found out my wife was complaining about the fact that she's not attracted to me anymore. I put on 40 pounds since we first met. Life is stressful. We have 3 kids. I do want to get in better shape, but I'm pretty pissed off about what I learned from snooping. I know if the shoe was on the other foot and she thought I was upset with her weight gain, I'd be seen as a jerk. But somehow it's okay for her to gossip about my body with her friends. I'm not sure what to do. Do I just hit the gym, get jacked, and keep my mouth shut and hope she falls for me again? Help.
Yeah, some things are better worth not finding out in that way. God, I don't know. I mean, I
Or maybe
think,
it's good. Maybe it's good he knows now?
yeah, maybe, yeah, yeah, sure. I mean, look, it's kind of hard because usually I found that attraction from women, even though physical's a big component to it, it's usually not just that. Like when the attraction's sometimes not there. You know what I
I'm a
mean?
flag that my wife just walked into the room and she has no idea what we're talking about. But this was a question from a listener, okay? Okay? And he's dealing with some intense stuff, okay? She thinks that she's just entered the manosphere because she's never listened to an episode.
Tell me what's attractive about women.
Uh-huh. This is the dadosphere. Get out of here.
This is crazy. It just got really intense in the room. You can cut it with a knife. I would just say, generally speaking, the best way to view needing to get in better shape, health, is it should come from like a personal place, and it should be something that's like, it makes you feel good. Like, I don't know if you want to approach it from a place that is necessarily from pain. At the same time, like, sometimes it is good to know that, if you're not in the best of health, maybe you're not taking care of yourself, that's something to address as well. I just hope it's not just totally based on someone else's acceptance. You know what I mean? Even if it is your partner. It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. The snooping. That's snooping. That's hard. You know what? Sometimes I'd be curious if person from Arizona, if their partner works out. Maybe it's something they can do together. Because that, I think, is really great. Is when you can, get into some of this stuff together. Especially like when it turns into like meal planning and changing like food routines and stuff like that. A lot easier to pull these things off when you have at least one other person in the household on board.
Yeah. Do you think maybe you should just go to her and say, like, honey, I know I'm a fat schlub now. Like, can you help me get in shape? Or
Yeah, or maybe just kind of be like, hey, maybe I'd like to try Pilates. Can I come too?
I heard it's very difficult.
Yeah, you've never tried it? It's hard. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I don't know. I don't mind it. It's pretty cool. But yeah, it's totally
I
hard.
feel like Pilates is kind of like mocked as like an elite like thing and like not serious, workout. But yoga used to be mocked, and I feel like yoga is very mainstream now.
Well, what I like about yoga is that you don't need an equipment. Like Pilates is kind of like it's like if you cold plunge, you actually need equipment, right? Like the workout I do is so base. It's like you need dumbbells and a mat. Like like I don't know. I like that. I think gym memberships are expensive. Pilates costs money, my friend. Spitting whole cycle ain't free. It ain't free. You need equipment. So I think that's a little bit of a barrier.
Yeah.
You know, I like a Bernie Sanders approach to exercise. Like I don't think we should have gatekeeping and millionaires and billionaires advocating for expensive equipment. I think exercise can just be something that regular Americans who are struggling out there who need to get their BPMs up can do that.
I
I think
think
that's the difference.
exercise is just something you do with your buddies in jeans, maybe shirtless, do some pull-ups, and you just put on your blue jeans and just do some pull-ups with your boys.
And this feels like a scene from Iron Claw, where they're just out in the ranch training. In fact, that's I think what they were doing. They were. I can't work out like that. By the way, Zach Efron, like Jesus Christ, he looks like he was like way back in the day when we had the Incredible Hulk TV series.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And there was this. I mean, Lou Ferrigno was the Hulk. Like Zach Efron looked like that. Like that dude was just like one monstrous muscle.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I only know Lou Ferrigno from I Love You Man, the film where he does a cameo, and I was too young for the Hulk. And I've come to know Zac Efron quite well from the High School Musical series, which my kids quite enjoy.
I was too old to watch that when it came out. It wasn't just really my thing. I wasn't really watching a lot of big network stuff. Have you seen Abbott Elementary?
I have.
That's pretty good.
Great show.
It's a great show. All right, I don't know what to do with the guy from Arizona. I don't know. Take up Pilates. That's my call.
Get to Pilates, Phil, you fat fuck. Jesus, maybe your wife would be attracted to you then. No, I'm just kidding. Phil, we love you, and I'm sorry you're going through this. And, we do gallows humor here, but it's only for the people that listen to the whole pod. I would never clip that out, because that would just make me seem mean. But you guys get me? The people who've been listening for all 52 minutes so far, you get it? Come on, you're with it.
It's
All right,
pretty
let's go back to
crazy.
the mailbag.
All right, I've got some food questions, hot
Ooh,
takes for
okay,
you. Ready?
okay. Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. This is kind of interesting because you were just in LA. It sounds like you had such a busy time you may have not have had time to try it. But there's a very famous burger place in LA in California called In and Out. People think it's overrated.
Okay.
Neil, I guess this is built on you trying it, but as a New Yorker, do you think In and Out is overrated?
I actually don't know how it's rated. I don't really follow the ratings. I'll be honest. I'm kind of any burger is a good burger to me.
Wow, not
It's the
picky.
whole like, sex and pizza thing. Like when you've perhaps heard, when pizza's good, it's really good, and when pizza's bad, it's still pretty good.
Yeah,
It's pizza.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I feel that way, unless you're handing me like raw, uncooked meat or perhaps something that, is just so overly chemically produced, like a fast casual establishment, like an In-N-Out, like a Shake Shack, like a Whack-A-Back, a Burger, Sonic, whatever. Like, I don't, it's great. I love burgers, Big Arch, I don't know. I haven't tried it yet, it's a product that I'm looking forward to chomping into with a tiny little bite.
Yeah.
But,
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, this is a good segue since it
okay.
doesn't seem like you have that many hills to die on. Is there a food hill you will die on?
I don't, I'm such a garbage disposal. I'll really eat anything. It's really hard to turn me off. I'll say like when my wife and I first started dating and she would cook eggs, I was a real little brat if there's any brown in them, I really need like a yellow scramble. I don't want them like overcooked. I get
Mm.
I need them real fluffy. If we're having eggs and I'm not eating and she's having the eggs, she'll cook them, over easy, fried, whatever, try different stuff out, but I'm a scrambled guy. Pretty
100.
simple in that way. I really am just a scrambled egg, simpleton. Unless we're talking like a, egg and cheese sandwich or something from Dunkin', then, you can put the little floppy disk, egg, whatever that
You'll
white
accept that.
is.
Other than that, it sounds like you're almost like a serial killer in your exclusionary egg ordering of only scrambled egg. This tracks with someone who might consider ketchup to be an acceptable condiment for eggs. Ketchup on eggs, yes or no?
Hell yeah.
I knew it. I knew it. As soon as you showed your cards of being a scrambled egg guy, yeah, you like ketchup on your eggs. Okay, so I already know this. You obviously have you garbage mouth your kid's plate, right? So if they don't finish it, you'll eat it. Is
Yeah,
that or that's acceptable to you?
correct.
Have you ever found yourself preemptively eat garbage mouthing your kids' food? Meaning, like maybe they're not done yet, but you're sneaking some fries from them. Is that acceptable even to you?
Yeah, that's called a dad tax. That's the tax. That's the dad tax. Literally, my kids will say dad tax whenever I take a bite of something. And then, if I do take a bite, I'll say, all right, let me just have a little bite. And like, that wasn't a little bite. You know what? Potato, potato. Like, I think, it's all relative. To me, it's a little bite. Maybe to your little mouth, it's big. But I
Yeah.
said, I want a little bite. And for me, that's a little bite. Give me a little bite of your ice cream sandwich. I bought it. Dad tax.
Yeah, the dad tax. Yeah, you are an enforcer of the dad tax. You do strike me as someone who I know you're pretty kind of laissez-faire, like a burger's a burger, but food is very expensive these days. What is the most you think a burger should cost? Because a burger is, a blue collar, everyman kind of meal, but like everything else, everything's so expensive now. What's the line in the sand for how much someone should pay for a hamburger?
This is a great question, Ollie, and it's a little bit colored by the fact that I know that you do this online. You judge burgers and see if they're worth it. So I do see your price points on your videos.
That's a
So,
rage bait thing. I want the pat over
all right,
mentality
well,
here.
you know what? All right, so I'm not gonna look well because there's a place called Blue Collar Burger in my neighborhood, and I'm actually now curious what a burger costs there. So I'm gonna pull that up, but before I look, all right, so you're asking me at a restaurant what I think
Yeah.
like a fair price for a burger is, or
No,
what
no,
I think.
what's the limit? I'd rather have like the line on the sand because you're in New York City, which I think is for many years been known as like, oh my God, like I remember hearing about a $6,000 omelet back in the day, which was obviously more of a
What?
stunt. Well, they put like caviar and gold flakes on it. This is like before like YouTube made anything possibly viral, and so you'd have to get on like local news and be like, "Oh yeah, there was a $6,000 omelet." It was like stupid. It's like gold flake. I mean, it's like, you just throw copious amounts of you basically they stuffed money in the omelet, right? But it was $6,000.
Cash, just wads of cash. Yeah.
Yeah, just full on cash.
I mean, for some reason, the number 17 is in my head that like there's, if you're gonna go to a restaurant,
Mm.
pub or something, burger's gonna run you about 17 to $19, which is
With
in
fries or just the burger itself?
depends. I think, with maybe with
But I
some
mean,
mixed
what's your rule? Because I mean, I'll be honest, I just
rule. I just, it's that's such a it depends on the menu. I think like I gotta look at the menu holistically. But let me tell you what this place, Blue Collar Burger. All right, let's go to
mm,
menu. See if they even list their prices. Oh my God, Ollie, look at this. Make it a
mm.
combo at Blue Collar Burger, 14.99. Choice of burger, chicken tenders, or two beef hot dogs. Okay. Make it a double with fries. Choice of fountain or canned soda. I'm unclear on if that's included.
Mm.
You know what? Actually affordable. Buffalo chicken tender sandwich, 8.50. This is pretty blue collar prices. A beef dog is 5. How much is just a regular burger?
Those are blue collar prices.
Burger, $8.25.
That's cheap.
Upstate brisket blend smash burger, served with lettuce, tomato, pickles, onions, and special sauce on a bun potato, $8.25. Single with American cheese, $8.50. Make it a double, so now we're talking two patties, just a dollar more, $9.50. Double with American cheese, $10.50. Ollie, blue collar burger in Greenpoint. Who knew? Everybody's talking about it. I gotta go check that place out.
You know what's shocking I've been finding is that New York City used to be a place where it would be, I think, kind of famous for being expensive.
Hmm.
I swear to God, I think the prices in New York City are actually more competitive and more reasonable. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Hey,
Wow.
is everything okay over there? It sounds like maybe there's an abduction happening in your house.
This is life now. I mean, telling you, like these guys are, yeah, these are 14 there. There's a lot of, he needs to go play 4 hours of volleyball to get this out of him. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy over there. It's crazy. You know what? This is probably one of the most realest moments of this podcast. This is what's happening now. Like, this is like completely normal. Yeah, they're
Hold on,
bonkers
let's
over
listen to
there.
the sweet sounds of him murdering, I assume, zombies or Nazis or something.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't. It's a good question. Hey Heath, what game are you playing? What game are you playing? War Thunder. So who are you killing in War Thunder? What do you mean you don't know? Any plane? And are you shooting aliens or what? Or
Game.
called War Thunder.
Yeah.
We'll
Search
have
it
to
up.
search it up. All right. I guess that's the answer these days.
You
Google
know
it.
what? It sounds a lot like the wars that America gets into. It's like, what's the goal? I don't know. Whatever. Just I don't know.
You realize I ask questions and I only get more questions. This is, and the best part is when he detached from his game, he's just like, hey, what is it? You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of like plugged in.
Um,
So
let's go to
crazy.
the mailbag for one more or two before we part, and I
Okay.
have to explain to my wife that this isn't a Manosphere podcast. Craig from Sarasota, Florida said, "Hey, dads, weird one for you, but here it goes. I have a very complicated relationship with my parents. They were emotionally distant and borderline abusive when I was growing up in the 70s. I've done a lot of therapy and healing work on myself and have forgiven them, but our relationship is still quite strained. My college age son doesn't have the baggage I do and has a nice relationship with my parents who are now in their late 80s. They've promised him their entire inheritance, as I was an only child and he is their only grandchild. It isn't my place to make financial decisions for anyone else, but I find myself getting angry all over again at my now geriatric parents' emotional manipulation. I worry about my young son's inability to manage that kind of money. I've offered him guidance, and when that windfall comes his way, for when that windfall comes his way, but he has brushed it off. And I've even overheard him talking to his friends about the lavish cars and other luxury items he plans to buy with his potential inheritance. I can't believe I'm a man in my 50s still dealing with these immature people's issues, but here I am. Any advice on how to manage this with my son so I make sure not to push him away, despite my own very earned anger at the situation?
Yeah, I mean, I just have loads of questions. Chiefly, like, how old is your son? And, like, what kind of, like, financial, access to institutions does he have? Do they have their own bank account? Like, he just has his own bank account. But, like, typically, like, that money should be locked away till they're like 25 at least, or you got to consider, like, hey, you could use this for college. Like, someone's
It's a,
got to step in
he's
here.
in college, the writer says.
He's in college.
Hmm.
That's tricky. That's
Right?
tricky.
Legal,
you've
legal
sailed
adult
you've sailed past the old 18. That's tough.
stuff, right?
That's tough. I mean, in the end of the day, at the end of the day, you've got to deal with the fact that, I mean, the other thing too is, do you have power of attorney? The things that you deal with
I
when
don't
you
think.
have parents that are geriatric. I mean, I have for my mom my financial power of attorney, so I can, like, I can control that stuff.
Mm.
That might be your last play, and it may not work. It may not work because if your parents are still in charge of their money and he's 18, that's tough. I mean, at least he's in college. I mean, shoot, I
You know what?
I don't know.
I
It's
think this
tough.
is one, we don't have all the answers. Let's throw it to the
Yeah.
dad sphere. Right below, what do you think this guy should do, huh? What would you do?
Yeah, that is a good one. Let's leave it on a cliffhanger, folks. Like, what do you think? I mean,
Kind of a cop out, but that's okay. We're building a community here.
jeez, nuts.
All right, should we
This
do
is
one
just
more?
nuts. Yeah,
Do
sure, why
one more.
not? I'm intrigued.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Megan from Berkeley. Hi, dads. I live in a really woo woo community in Northern California, and as a parent to littles, I've noticed everyone is so super keen on pushing the gentle parenting approach, which I appreciate in theory. But one thing I'm really struggling with is this idea that there are no bad kids. I know this is a book and philosophy made famous by Janet Lansbury, and the whole idea is that kids are sponges who need our help to learn how to be in the world. That's all well and good, but dads, I have met some bad kids. Kids who are spoiled and mean and rotten and even vindictive. I think about some of the worst leading our country right now and know that they didn't become that way overnight. They were likely once bad kids. Why can't we acknowledge as a culture that some people are just assholes when they're little and they don't magically become bad once they turn 18 and are no longer someone's legal dependent? Signed, some bad kids.
Well, I mean, I think it's also fair to say no one just instantly becomes bad at any age, whether it's 18 or 3. They were raised that way, or there was a lack of raising, a lack of parenting there. So I think it's more about how we approach the words to it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna just kind of leave it at that. It's like too clickbaity, right? There's no bad kids. There's just bad parents, or whatever you want to call it. But like, yeah, and I don't know. Just feels like, yeah. Hopefully, I mean, what do you think, Neil? Do you think there's? I guess, well, in certain cases, like in the case of Donald Trump, there's the time for course correction is over. But one would hope that, even into your 20s, there should be opportunities to learn lessons. Like I became more mature at 18 when I was like finally off to college, and I was like, crap, I have to like do my own laundry, and like lessons get learned a little bit later on. There's no bad kids, only bad parents. Neil, what's your take?
What's my take? Yeah, I think it's complicated. I think the whole idea of good and bad is subjective. I think probably what this woman is noticing is bad behavior from kids. And so I think the idea, if I understand correctly, the idea behind no bad kids is that no kids are inherently bad, that behavior is learned. That we witness patterns in our home and in the world, and that we mimic them and learn from them and think that that's how we're supposed to operate. And so if you see people being selfish and that's your main influence, maybe you start acting selfishly. And I think it is incumbent, hopefully, on the adults in your life to course correct and say, hey, that wasn't kind, or hey, let's find a way to share or say a kind thing or not hit or not only think of ourselves and be empathetic. And it's hard, it's we all deal with that with our own kids. I think maybe this woman's just kind of struggling with the fact that there's a lot of people acting badly and it trickles down. It's not like all the kids are wonderful and kind and so are all the adults. It's like, yeah, there's kids acting like shitheads, and our task as a community, as people who are part of the world together, is how do we help. What I struggle with is people are like, all my only job is to make sure my kids are kind. Yeah, I guess, but like, how are we going to help put more good into the world to make sure other people's kids are kind too? Like, I do think there's this sense of like individualism where if your only responsibility is your own kids and that somehow magically everything should be okay, like that's just not how life works. That's not how the world works. Now, they can be your primary responsibility to make sure that you teach your own kids kindness and goodness and how to be a person in the world who contributes to society. But what are the ways that we can then teach them to spread that message and also help the community so that other kids who maybe don't have parents like you who are going to correct them when they do something bad and shitty can also benefit from? I think maybe if you focus on that, Megan from Berkeley, maybe you'll feel less bad. So, how can you help some of these bad kids instead of just shitting on them? Come on, Megan, do something good. You
I
got
feel like some of this turns into, you just kind of like sign off on people, or you're like, oh, well, well, didn't you just say something? You were talking about like some neighborhood, and you're like, oh, it's just not a. Some parrot was talking about it's like, oh, they blame the environment, or I think it is this wholesale blaming of certain things. It's like bad
Hmm.
kids, bad environment. Like, what are you going to
Yeah,
do?
it's
Hide in
more
a bubble?
it's always a little more complicated than that, and I also, can be reductive too because I'm a human with a small brain, and that's what we do. It's how we understand the world because the world is so vast. But it's easy to say Texas is racist, and it's like, well, no, there's just like racist infrastructure and systems that exist in that state, just like they exist in our country, just like have existed in the history of America, just like exist in many places in the world, as probably our most often quoted aphorism on this show is it's not all sunshine and rainbows. And hey, look, parenting's tough, but you got this, Megan. Hey, take a deep breath. Take your time.
Yeah,
You'll get everything on the conveyor belt. Don't worry.
yeah, and maybe watch Iron Claw because sometimes a good movie is what we need to just kind of reset things.
Yeah,
Good
it's
movie.
very uplifting, by the way. Very inspiring, if I remember. You'll walk away just feeling really good about everything.
I mean, like somebody survived.
Yeah, it's raw. It's raw and real and authentic and gritty, and it's good acting. I enjoyed it too.
God, that was pretty. I didn't see it coming when dude had no foot. I was like, "Oh,
Spoiler.
you're alive."
We're telling people to watch this. I saw Jeremy Allen White in my neighborhood a few months ago. More than that,
Really?
last year, yeah. He was on a bench
Wow.
across from a grocery store, and I saw a couple of women taking a selfie with him. And then I took a picture of them taking a picture with him. And then do you know
You
what I
did?
did, Ollie? Do you know what I did? I texted it to Dumois, a gossip blogger, and I said, "Seen in Greenpoint." And I sent the photo.
You did?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't think you did stuff like that.
I don't. I was just so excited, that to see a celebrity just sitting on a bench, in front of my
Imagine.
grocery store. Go
Wow,
figure.
your grocery store. What
Yeah.
grocery store is this? Is it like a independent one?
Yeah, the Met Food on Driggs. They're unionized. The meat, you got to be careful with the meat, but, if you get organic, it's probably fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Hey, I
have
think
to.
you have to go to volleyball practice, huh?
Jesus.
Get out of
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
Go. You
yeah.
don't want to be an hour late.